Now I have the privilege of introducing the next MEC chair, John Hairston. John is President and Chief Executive Officer of Hancock Whitney Corporation, the $35 billion parent company of Hancock Whitney Bank. He has served as CEO since 2008 and is president of the company since 2014. Since joining Hancock Whitney in 1994, he has served in several other roles, including Chief Operating Officer, Chief Operations Officer, and Executive Vice President Operating Officer. Earlier in his career, he specialized in financial services, consulting with Anderson Consulting, now Accenture. John serves as the trustee of the National World War II Museum, the World War II Theater, and the World War II Pavilions, nonprofit organizations based in New Orleans. And he's also on the board of the Mississippi Aquarium Foundation, a nonprofit organization on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and he currently serves on the board of directors of the Gulf Coast Business Council. He's the past chair of the Mississippi Gaming Commission and the Mississippi Information Technology Services Board of Directors. He was a faculty member of the Graduate School of Banking at LSU and at the Georgia Banking School. He's been active in numerous Mississippi Gulf Coast charitable and civic organizations. John's a graduate of Mississippi State University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering. He's also a past member of the Bulldog Foundation Board and past chair of the MSU College of Business Advisory Board. As a sixth-generation Mississippian, John resides in Gulfport, Mississippi with his wife, Ann. And we are all excited about John's leadership abilities and looking forward to a great year at MEC. Please welcome your 2026 Chair, John Hairston.
Thank you, Pat, for the kind introduction. Before you leave, I want to take a minute or two, and I've only got 8, so I'm going to do this quick, but I want to recognize Pat for her many accomplishments in her time. And you can take all the different things that Pat did as chair of the organization and summarize them into kind of 3 really big chunks. One, you heard the good news a few minutes ago, and the press release flew, I think, about noon, about us becoming the 7th state that has a state chamber that's accredited by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is, it's nice for Mississippi to be on lists where we're one of just a few that are really good, right? And so it's exciting to see another one of those added to the list. Secondly, back in 2021 and 22, MEC published a document called Securing Mississippi's Future. It was in General Collins' term as chair. And much of the progress made this past year along the lines of that document was thanks to Pat's sage leadership. And so not only thank you for the sacrifices and time that she's had, but congratulations on a job well done with many goals attained. And then the third was in laying the groundwork for the topic that's going to follow me, which is the heads of BIPAC, MMA, and MEC discussing the Business Alignment 2026 venture that Scott mentioned a little while earlier today. That groundwork was laid under her leadership, and I feel very honored to be able to follow her and a little bit inspired to try to make sure I don't screw it up after she's done such a great job. So, Pat, thank you so much for a job very, very well done. Okay. Now we have a few gifts. We have a board resolution saying with much better prose what I just said about the accomplishments under her tenure. We also have a gift. Now Pat, I feel transparency and honesty is important. On the gift committee, I wanted to get a Bentley. And so we got close. We sent Scott to get it, and he kept bringing back one that was maroon and white, which I knew was not going to work for you. And so we had to come up with something a little better. We have a gift for you, the resolution. Okay, are we doing a pick? Sorry. One more chance. You got it. Okay. All right. Thank you for your patience while we did that. We also have a gift, and we have another gift that's too big to carry on stage. It's not the Bentley. I'm sorry, but maybe a little later on. But thank you again, Pat. It's been an honor to serve at your side. When we look at the next year, it really is a busy year. Mississippi has made much ground up in terms of our comparative stature with GDP growth, with the retention of young people that go to our universities and choose to stay here. State income levels are increasing. We really have had a lot of good progress made, and I think it's due to a lot of effort from the people in this room that are leaders in many organizations across the state, both voluntary and your day job. We also, I think, are seeing some of the realized benefits of investments made over the past couple of decades. You know, when you're trying to move into a much better place compared to other states and present a much better face to the business community to locate jobs inside our state, it's important to show not just an upward trajectory, but an impressive slope in that curve. And the last 5 years has been one of the best 5 years we've had. I like to think it's because of the resiliency of the state. We know how to take a punch and come back from it, from storms we've had that impacted the bottom third of the state to the pandemic, and we always seem to come back better than we were before we take a tough hit. And the pandemic period was no exception to that. And so a lot of the good realized data that we're beginning to show us and show us in a better light is coming from those investments made before. And so as we look at business realignment, that's another step, I think, in that journey. We had a third-party consultant who's done a terrific job of going around the state, bringing our business people together that are members of all three of those organizations, BIPEC, MMA, and MEC. Some people are members of all three, some are members of two, some are members of just one, but we have well over 1,000 members between the three. Those leaders were invited to come in and share their thoughts around the good and the bad of combining the strength to create one big, very muscular organization that provides the voice for the state's business community. And the third-party organization their leader presented a document to us yesterday as part of his comments that was, if you've ever seen a Wordle, it's essentially where you take all the words spoken through a series of conversations and then you put them on one page. And the size of the font of the word is driven by how many times it came up. And the larger that word gets in terms of occurrences, the more close to the center of the page it got. And when you look at that Wordle, when you look at it, it's this massive font of 2 words or one phrase, depending on your perspective, that says one voice. It dwarfed all the other words, the number of repeats that they had. And so sort of like the if you're a sports fan, you may remember the movie Jerry Maguire, where Renee, Renee, am I saying it right? Renee? What's your last name? Say it again. I can't hear you. It's Renee. So Renee said, "You had me at hello." You remember that line in the movie? Well, when you throw that one pager up and you saw that big one voice, you know, it was the realization to me that, I mean, you had me at one voice. It was really a tremendous document to look at. And so I'm very excited to be the incoming chair with so much of that groundwork already done. And I think I'm not going to spend much more time I don't want to spend any more time on that topic, because after me we'll have the 3 CEOs of all 3 of those fine organizations sharing their own thoughts and their learnings as we've gone through the dialogue captured over the last year. And so that'll be to come. One of our principal efforts that was in Securing Mississippi's Future, published a few years ago, was in workforce training. It was the number one issue that came up as we gathered information for the 5 years leading up to the publishing of that document. And it indicated that we have more jobs than we have people to fill those jobs, and that the quality of the workforce needed to make a significant step up in their readiness to walk into those assignments, and that would attract more employers. The progress that we're making there is first manifested in the quality of public education. And our kids, I think Governor Reeves mentioned this at MEC Capitol Day a year ago, but the trajectory of our relative test scores and really all the way through K through 12, and you heard some of the report of our STAR students and the number of kids that are now reaching STAR student status, and ACT scores going up and SAT scores going up. The quality of the kids that we're putting out of our schools has never been better than it is today, despite the setback we all endured through the pandemic. And so I think the best manifestation of improving our workforce are the workers that haven't yet hit the workforce, and that's the kids coming out of K through 12 on their way to post-secondary education. So I'm really, really excited about that. So I want to wrap up and give, I'm going to give a couple minutes back to the panel, but I do want to thank all of you, particularly those who traveled to come to these meetings. Every time I come to a meeting like this, with people across the state with so much diverse backgrounds in terms of what they do for a living, their views, their thoughts, what they bring to the table. I always meet someone I didn't know that I'm glad to meet, and I always learn something I didn't know. And that's happened 4 or 5 times just in getting ready for the meeting today, the luncheon today. And so thank you for attending. Thank you for your continued participation. I really look forward to this event a year from now, and we may have to take in another room by the time we add in all the extra folks that are hopefully going to be joining. But thank you again for your participation, your membership, your care, and your love for the state that I share with you. It'll be a pleasure to serve as your next chairman. God bless you, and I'm going to turn it over to Scott and the panel. Y'all take care and have a great lunch.